ultra runner has set a new record time for running the West Highland Way back to back. Scott Brown set out to complete the 192-mile route in 48 hours, but he finished it in 44 hours and 40 minutes, breaking the previous record time by more than 20 hours.
So the West Highland Way back to back was initially mentioned from my friend Chris Saunderson, and we were passing the West Highland Way route and he said, tongue in cheek, why don't you take on a back to back West Highland Way? So as I was looking out the window, I thought to myself, actually I could do this. He then looked at me and thought, you're serious? You're thinking about this? 4 years later, I said to him, it's on this year.
There's so much history and prestige around that route. It's iconic. Everyone across the world knows what it is. This just felt like the first time he was getting the proper recognition, the proper exposure for all the incredible things he's done. And it felt like, this one was finally one that everyone was going to hear about, everyone was going to know about. So it was special to be part of that.
I'm Scott Brown. I'm an endurance athlete from Ayrshire. I own Scott Brown Fitness and Next Level Gym and Bootcamp. So the West Highland Way is a route from Milngavie to Fort William, which is a mixed terrain route that's very scenic. It's a lovely runnable route, but also we've got some good climbs along some of the hills as well.
I actually think maybe the first time he mentioned it to me was when we were travelling to one of the GB Ultras races, and he sort of just floated this thing out that, I'm going to I think he maybe said I'm going to do it next year or something at the time. We were on our way to an event that I was going to be crewing him in, and I sort of smiled and I thought, this isn't going to be the last time this rears its head.
So some of the challenges I've done are the Ramsay's Round, it's 24 Monroes in under 24 hours in Scotland Highlands. Also I've done the Dragon's Back race, covering all the mountains in Wales over 6 days. I've done the race across Scotland where I took the course record in 58 hours. I've also done the Montane Spine race, which is in winter, in January, with a lot of snow and ice, about 275 miles.
Unlike some people, I wasn't surprised at all, because the one thing that I know about my wee brother is the bigger the challenge, the better he'll perform. So the bigger the event, the better he'll do. That's one thing that I've noticed. So when the West Highland Way, the double West Highland Way came about, I think I was pleasantly excited, and yeah, it was just a case of when, not if.
My support crew was vital for this challenge. I had my friend Chris Saunderson, who initially came up with the idea. He was my driver stroke kind of team leader. He was going to be always there on the ground for every support. Every stop, he was always there. I also had my wife, Kerry, my daughter, Dakota, who's 7. They were going to be there at most of the stops as well. As well as that, we had Monument Media, who were going to be covering the whole journey as well, so they were there quite a lot. And my support runners. The fastest known back-to-back time for the West Highland Way was 64 hours and 15 minutes. I plan to do it in 48 hours. So I started at 4 p.m. on the Friday. The reason for this was I figured that it would be getting into a night section at the nice and cool, and I should be able to cover some good ground through the night while I was fresh. This never worked like a good plan because it was still very hot when I set off.
Initially, I felt things would go to plan, but with regards to, again, looking at the weekend we had and the heat we had, that was always going to play a massive factor. So if anything was going to go wrong, it was going to be due to the heat.
So my pacing strategy was to run my first half in under 21 hours. And I knew that if I could do this, I would finish the first section in a good state that I could then take into the second leg, in the return leg. I found myself comfortably ahead of schedule through good feeling. Although it was really hot and although the weather was really starting to get me and beat me down, with it being so hot, I was still finding the pace comfortable that I could achieve my goal. So I was still ahead of schedule without really pushing the pace too much. So as I approached Cornick Hill, initially I was looking forward to it. I don't know why, but I think it was because I felt as if it was the first point I was actually thinking, I'm on this challenge. The magnitude of the event started hitting home. My pacers were feeling the pace with the heat. I could hear them breathing heavy. I knew that they were struggling. I felt really good personally. I said to myself, right, don't rush this. I've got a long way to go. So I broke into a fast walk, a good hike, and I was feeling comfortable. I remember coming over Cornick Hill thinking, I feel great. There's nothing that's going to stop me from doing this. It was good. It was good. Very hot because it's so exposed with the heat. It's just open the whole time. So. As I hit the lock side, and fresh paces joined me at this point, and I remember thinking that this is it. This is the real thing here, and I was so excited about it. Right. Cheers, buddy. Yep. Right, cup of tea and aye, that'd be good. See you later, Scott. Aye, good luck. Cheers.
Fine, mate. Honestly,
I know. I just need to make sure. Just watch my pace.
it's got to get cooler too.
And it's been hot, it's so hot, and I've got to watch my pace. I'm aware of that, so I don't want to go too hot.
I give you the water in your pack. That's just plain water.
I felt comfortable. I felt as if my training was exactly where it needed to be, get into it. It's the unknown when you get there because you don't know how it's going to go. Is it going to go to mush or is it going to work out? Dakota made me that, so that is very special to me.
If you buy it,
she's made me a couple, but this one's our favourite one, so
because that's the
I've
way
got to keep it
you
on. Hey guys, really enjoyed that. Fantastic.
Fly, mate. Thank you.
I was moving along the lockside from Inversnaid towards Benglass Farm, and it was really getting dark. I had no head torch. So my support runner, Stuart, had his head torch in his bag. He stops after he headbutts a tree and I asked him if he's okay. and he stops and he was a bit shaky and he says, "Yeah, I'm fine," and he gets his head torch out. I realised I made an error by not taking my head torch. This was a really technical section along there. It's probably an area where I should have been not having to concentrate too much, focusing more on my feet because I never had a head torch on, but I had to really concentrate hard to stop myself falling. I did fall. I fell on my backside a couple of times and it was painful, and I remember getting up thinking, right, I want this section to come to an end so I could get my support at Benglass Farm and get my head torch out. Everyone that was supporting us was covered in head nets, and I remember looking around me thinking, there's a lot of midges here.
We kind of took that on board, and when Scott arrived, we sat him on a chair and put the full midgie net over him and just draped it over him so he was able to eat and drink midgie free, which was probably at that stage would have been really good because they were bad. Your feet drying off? Everything alright?
Yeah.
Scott, you want Craig to carry extra water or what?
Aye, I've got water here for him.
As long as I've got one on me and if you can take one.
Are you wanting your powder in it again?
So, well, the one's got to have one and one's got to...
Right, that's fine, yep, that's fine.
Reminds me of the West Highland Way race, and there's hundreds of midges in.
Feeling alright? Feet alright, legs okay?
Yep. So next section from Benglass Farm was the section from Benglass to Auchintyre. I had a fresh support runner with me, Craig, and I had a long base layer on when I left that section. I started overheating a lot, so I took that layer off and I ran with no top on because it was just so warm for the night. We got to a bridge, which was a bridge that was going to mean a lot to me because John Kynaston, who I was basically running this in the memory of, this double West Highland Way. John Kynaston had a plaque on this bridge, so I stopped there and just took on a few moments and thought about John when I was there. I then left there and carried on my way to Auchintyre. This section was, I started feeling really sick and I was feeling really nauseous.
How we doing?
Not bad. Stomach's a bit dodgy, but so I'm running out my shorts now, but just to ease this bit. It seems to be working. I wasn't feeling too well here, and I remember feeling crampy in my stomach. I felt that the fuel wasn't going in too well in this section, but I carried on regardless. So as I'm leaving Tyndrum with Mark, we get more daylight, and this is my favourite section. I love this section where you can start seeing the highlands open up and you can see the big mountains ahead of you. We can still see them even under the cover of darkness here. You can see daylight's approaching, and I'm really looking forward to this part. So we're then just over 60 miles into the challenge at Bridge of Auchi. I've met my support crew and I'm taking on some fuel. This was a struggle because I was really feeling sick still. The magnitude of the challenge wasn't at any point fazing me. It was more just the heat of the challenge and the fact that I was struggling with taking on food and drink. I then was sick, projectile everywhere. I took a minute and then thought, right, we'll just need to get up and go. Because it changed nothing. I knew that I had to carry on and nothing was going to stop me from completing this. Right, season a bit. Keep going forward. I think what drives me forward and drives me to do more and more of these types of events is the fact that I like it to hurt. What I can tell you is, after I finished close protection, for the first few years I moved back to Scotland, and I was raising my young daughter, who was only a toddler at the time, on my own, and it was just me and her. And I think it was a coping mechanism to go and do tough things, and it was a way I could express myself, and I found great relief in that. Like, if it would hurt, and I would do hard things, and I enjoyed that. So the next part was Rannoch Moor, and I was with my support runner Mark. As we were taking on Rannoch Moor, I felt great. The sunrise had started appearing above us, and I felt like it was a new day. The first full day was ahead, and it was great. I knew that I was going to see my support at Glencoe as well, so I was really looking forward to this, and I felt good. I was starting to feel better, I was drinking better, and I actually started feeling really good. After a quick fuel station at Glencoe, I then took on the next part, the Devil's Staircase, on my own. I was climbing well up the Devil's Staircase, and then I got to meet my wife at the top. Yeah, that was nice. Yeah, that was nice, and although I never felt emotional about it at the time, I definitely, yeah, she supported me through a lot. And that was the first time that she's actually run women during something. So I think having her there doing something was good, because everything I do is like always myself, and I take great pride in it. But having her there, getting to run with her, she's always in the background. She doesn't like the limelight. She just likes to always be in the background, never takes praise and nothing. So it meant a lot for her to join me during that section, so it was good.
Carrying Dakota there as long as I was, and she was there at every checkpoint to give him his big hug, and I think he liked that. It kind of spurred him on.
So as I got to Kinlochleven, this is probably the hottest the race had been. The support that I had was unreal. The guys were making ice bandanas up. They were giving me ice poles, ice lollies, cold drinks. It meant a lot. They were dipping my hat into some cold water, really cooling me down. They had towels round my neck, so that when I was getting to the support points, I was really getting took care of. So this was helping with my core temperature, and it was really getting in a good place for setting off again.
See you later, guys.
So the next section, we left Kinlochleven. I was with Callum, who's one of my race team. He's got loads of energy, Callum, and we set off heading to Fort William, about roughly 13, 14 miles. This was baking hot. Some of the glens were just brutal heat. As we were halfway along, we were running out of water. I didn't know Chris was going to meet us at Milngavie, who's my support on the ground, and he was there, and that was brilliant.
I got like a cheer when he seen me. Had some music playing, AC/DC, which whether he noticed or not, I don't know. They were there, they get topped up with the fluids, and he went away with maybe an ice lolly.
We had ice lollies and more ice bandanas and stuff like that. It honestly meant so much because it came as a surprise that it was going to be there, and it really got the morale up for that last section heading from Milngavie into Fort William. As we were approaching Fort William, myself and Callum, I was excited. I was excited knowing that I was halfway through this, that I'd reached a major point in this challenge. I was 19 hours and 45 minutes when I got to that point, and I remember sitting in the centre of Fort William thinking, wow, this is halfway done, and every point I go now is just a further section done on the way home. It was brilliant. I remember sitting on the bench and grabbing a hold to the man that's on the bench thinking, you are roasting hot. He was baking hot in the heat. And it was so hot that I didn't want to hold him for too long for the pictures. Callum was brilliant. He was really good to have with me at this point. The centre of Fort William was heaving. Everybody was there. And I remember seeing people drinking in the town. And I thought, I don't belong here. I just want to get out of here. And I want to get back to some of my support runners and start making way back.
Well done, mate.
See you soon.
Superb.
We'll see what happens. But if I get feeling good in the checkpoint here with the guys, get hydrated, so get myself in the best possible state for heading back. There's no point rushing it. Every single support runner I've had have been amazing, and they popped in and joined in in whatever leg they were on, and it's been so good. I actually don't run a lot with people. Like, I'm quite a weird guy like that. I like to run myself, but I wouldn't have changed it for the world. I didn't realise how good it would be to meet somebody new, and it's been nice.
This is really good as well.
Chris is brilliant. He knows what he's doing. He's helped me loads of challenges in the past for years. But he's a good guy. He does a lot behind the scenes, like when I get into the checkpoints and having stuff ready. Brilliant. So at that halfway stage, I had a quick bite to eat just at my support crew, just out of town.
He had quite probably his longest stop was there. Kerry managed to find a chip shop that was open, so she appeared with a bag of chips. He had a full kit change. I had him in the van at one point, just engine running and air conditioning on, just to try and to cool him down. But probably 10, maybe 15, 20 minutes at most, and he was full kit change and back on his way, yeah. So it was quite quick, but definitely positive.
I've had some of the best foot massages with the guy Steve Davies, and he's an amazing foot massage. Obviously not as good as Ken's, but really good. But, I think Chris has gave me a foot massage before as well.
Right. You did that.
That's cold.
Yeah. Right, I'll see you later, guys. Love you. See you later.
Love you.
Love you too.
Daddy.
Love you, bye. I knew that first section was quite a climb out, but it never really fazed me. I didn't really know what to expect and how my legs would feel approaching it, but I coped well, considering that I'd already done a full 96 miles. my legs were good climbing out of there, and I was climbing pretty good. So I get into Kinlochleven, and then I meet more support runners. Actually getting into Kinlochleven was amazing because the support was really building up now. I felt like as the challenge was going on, the support crew was building as well. More people were joining my support, and there was probably up to over 20 people now. And I remember running into Kinlochleven thinking, wow, like all these people are here for me, and it was really nice. When we left Kinlochleven, I was probably a bit apprehensive about the climb going out because it just went on forever. And that was quite a tough climb. I remember thinking, just take it easy and just get it done. It was scorching hot. And I remember thinking, stick to a shady part of the side, and there was no shade at all. So that was a tough climb leaving there. But as we get closer to the Devil's Staircase, I was getting quite excited because it was coming to one of my favourite parts of the route again, where you could see Buckwheat Moor, and you can start seeing other areas like Rannoch Moor and places like that where I really love. So I enjoyed that section coming onto the Devil's Staircase, and I think my spirits picked back up again. When I got into the checkpoints, I was really looking forward to getting fuel again. I found that I was fueling well in the checkpoints, sometimes better than I was out when I was running. Sometimes my nutrition, I wasn't eating as well while I was running because of just how hot it was. So when I get into the checkpoints, I was looking forward to trying something new. Right, I'm only going to eat enough that I'm not going to spew my out.
I remember when he came into Glencoe for the second time on the way back, I'd made him pasta, which he didn't eat, so that was me finally getting something to eat. We'd again try to keep him cool. One of the other people with like an ice box that the ice had melted, so it was just water. So we had the towel in there soaking, and then we got that over him, and we put a hat in, like a woolly hat in, and soaked that and got that on his head just to try and regulate his temperature.
So from the Glencoe Ski Centre to Bridge Yorkie, I was joined by Kerry Gallagher. This was quite a nice section. She brought fresh chat and the pace was fine. However, sometimes when we decided to have a walk, the clegs would attack the back of your legs. There was just clegs all over us. So it made us run more than we wanted to. So that was quite funny, thinking back about it. So we ran quite a lot of that just through getting chased with clegs.
So when he came into Bridge of Orchy, I think the lasting image will be Dakota running to meet her dad.
What can I say about Dakota? It was amazing to have her there, and I always look forward to getting to the checkpoints. She was always the first to want to greet me, and she would run up to me or hug me, or she would always give me a kiss. It was nice. I ran with a wristband on. She gave me a little good luck souvenir before I started, and I never took it off to the finish. But she was there in every checkpoint, and it was good to show her that I still had it on. Yeah, she helped me through. It was good.
Keep it going, man. Come on, boys.
So the next section from Bridge of Orchy to Tyndrum, I was joined by Chris and John. That was a nice section. I was really finding my feet here. I enjoyed the company as well. It was nice, but it was really getting dark. As we approached Tyndrum, I couldn't really see who was at the checkpoint. And then I seen my mum. That was nice because I didn't know she was going to come there. She gave me a hug and she said good luck and how you feeling? But it was nice, it was really good. So the next section we left, Tyndrum, Sandy joined us. We left there and I was making good progress. We walked some of the climbs and we chatted on the climbs and then we ran further in towards Benglass Farm. I made a decision here that I was going to carry on without any sleep. This was the only point I actually thought about having a sleep. So we had a few minutes and thought about it.
Yeah, just do what you feel. If you feel you need a sleep, go for a sleep. On the other hand, if going for a sleep, would it make him feel better? Would it make him feel worse? And with the hard section on Loch Lomond coming up, it was a toss of a coin whether he went to sleep or not, and he chose not to. So that was that. He looked strong leaving, and yeah, cracked on into the night.
So me and Andy set off, but with the blisters on my feet and the slow progress across that technical section towards Inversnaid, we were quite slow. I could see Andy looking back thinking, come on, we need to move a bit further and a bit faster. But to be honest, it was probably the pace that I had to go at that point. So when me and Andy were travelling along that section, I actually asked him, I said, if I fell asleep here in this section, what do you think would happen? And he says, it's up to you. If you want to sleep, you can sleep. But I wouldn't make it any longer than 10-15 minutes. And then I decided I'm not going to bother, so I carried on. After Inversnaid, I found my pace picked back up and I started moving a little bit faster. I think partly this was due to the fact that terrain was starting to ease up and it was a little less technical. I also think it was due to just getting frustrated with myself, the fact that I was going a wee bit slower. I gritted my teeth here and started pushing a bit harder, and Andy praised me for doing this.
Coming into Rowerdennan for the second time, obviously on the way back, again we got the voicemail saying that he was going to go for a sleep.
Guys, this has been a bit of a grind for Scott. He's doing brilliant and he's moving brilliant despite how tired he is, but if we could have some like maybe chicken soup and a couple other things for him to pick at, and then he's going to go straight for a 30-minute sleep. He's needing a bit of rest. He's worked hard through the night, but he just needs a wee bit of shut-eye and then he'll be good to go again.
So I prepared the van best I could by moving things out of the way and tilting the chair back so that he'd have maybe somewhere to get his 10-15 minutes. 2 minutes after that, you get another voice note saying,
We're exactly a mile out. Believe it or not, he's starting to perk up. He's contemplating carrying on.
Where he's getting this energy from, I don't know. But he came into Rowerdennan, he's looked fine again, looked full of energy.
Oh, no, I need to lose. Have you got your toilet roll?
As soon as I sent that message about he's needing food, 3 minutes later he thought, I might just charge on.
Is he putting anything in his water, Andy? Did he have something on it? Aye, he did, don't he?
One of them had a carb mix, so no, it was good. I actually really enjoyed it, but he was bored in that chat. So he's like, "You put me to sleep here." I was like,
How do you keep him awake?
I know, that's the thing. But he done brilliant.
Right, it's not in the car, Scott, so you're out the midges.
Right, just go. At this point, I remember thinking, I just want to get this done. They'd asked me, would I like to stop and get more fuel in? I just asked for gels. I said, put gels in my pack and let's go, because I wanted to press on. So me and Stephen were making good progress from Rowerdennan all the way to Corrickhill. And then I met my brother Kevin, and I also met a few of the other support runners.
What jumped out straight away was he really had it under wraps, and that was something that made me smile. The second I laid eyes on him, it was just so impressive to see. I think I'd missed the memo where I realised I had Conic Hill, which made my nerves even worse. But when we got up that climb, you know, just before we reached the summit, I was like maybe 3 steps behind him, and he looked back and he said to me,
"You right, bro?" "Yeah."
And sort of smiled, and I was like, "You're killing me here." But it was nice. We got to the top of the climb, and then I was able to sort of run with him. And I sat just behind him, and I was watching him again as his big brother. I was like, this is unbelievable what's happening here. The sun had come up, and you know, and I was thinking about it now, thinking this just felt like the first time he was getting the proper recognition, the proper exposure for like all the incredible things that he's done. You know, he's done unbelievable things, raised unbelievable amounts of money for charity over the years, done huge thankless tasks for the community, and it felt like, you know, this one was finally one that everyone was going to hear about, everyone was going to know about. So it was special to be part of that.
We were then going to run from Drummond out to where my wife was going to meet me, and I knew that my wife was going to join me again. So, yeah, so I knew that she was going to meet me at this point, and I was looking forward to that. Along this section, I was running with Chris and Pauline. We met this guy, and he stopped us, and he asked me if I knew the direction to Fort William. And I was thinking, is this guy serious? There was something that I wasn't sure about, but I looked at him, and his on his t-shirt says the West Highland Way. And then he said it again, he says, "Do you know the way to Fort William?" I was like, you know the way to Fort William. And he says his name was Keith Hughes. And then it hit home that this is the legend who's done this before. So it was really, really nice that Keith had come out to meet me on the route. I then carried on where I met Kerry. We had about 4 miles in my journey left, and that was nice. So me and Kerry ran then, not knowing what I was going to run into at the finish. I didn't have a clue.
The finish was superb. Everyone was gathered, friends, family that had taken time at the weekend to come up, and all the people that had done support sections and stuff like that. That was so good.
So as I've approached the finish, I've turned the corner. As I've started running up the ramp, it went wild. I remember touching the finish point and thinking it's over, it's finished. I don't need to run anymore. Don't need to run in blisters, and that was nice. 44 hours and 40 minutes. I thought I would be a wee bit cringed out just with the support being there and just being all about me. But it was amazing. It was really nice. It was touching.
watching him finish and cross the line was emotional. Obviously he finished with Kerry, his wife, which would have been special for him. But yeah, I tend to keep my distance at that, but I got a hug for Kerry, which nearly broke me. And yeah, I had to put the sunglasses on and I waited to everybody to congratulate him, and then I get my wee kind of congratulations in and a few pictures.
So I completed it in 44 hours and 40 minutes. I was roughly 3 hours ahead in my schedule. I don't think I'd gave it much thought before this, but it was really, really nice to think, wow, like I've smashed my target, especially under the conditions that I was faced with. It was amazing. It was great. I was chuffed to bits.
What he does inspires people to do more, and I think the story of this is going to inspire a lot of maybe younger guys to have a go at the record or have a go at this attempt or sign up to something that maybe pushes them out of their comfort zones. He's been doing that with me. He's older and fitter brother for years, which I am eternally grateful for. And the more stuff he does, the more it's going to push me to go and try and do other things. And I hope loads of people watching this will go, do you know what, it's maybe time I stop my excuses and I go and get after something.
I've said to a lot of people that I get the easy bit. I get to drive about, I get to see everything, I get to see all the scenery. Scott really does get the hard bit. He's running for 190 odd miles, and it's if you know it, it's no flat. It's no a tarmac road. It's no a running track. It's the West Highland Way.
Looking back in reflection to the challenge, I think that although these things is such a personal endeavour and is a meaningful thing for myself, I took so much for the community. The fact that everybody came out to see me. The fundraising aspect, I raised over £4,100 for charity for Circle Scotland, which was amazing. How much people got behind it was brilliant, and it fueled me on, knowing that I'd already reached my target and that my target was climbing through doing something so big that was bigger than myself. I think having all the support runners to help me, fuel me at my checkpoints, to bring me out, ice bandanas, things like that meant the world to me, because I know that without that, under those conditions, would have been such a hard slog and probably not achievable in the time I did it in. Having my wife there, my mum there, my brother there, my daughter's there. Having Cora there. I hope people watching this can take something from that. I hope they can draw inspiration and also don't doubt themselves going into their own challenges. Don't limit themselves to their own beliefs and what they think is possible. My gym motto is clear, your mind if can't. And I never have a ceiling on what I can do. I believe that you should always push the boundaries and try and test where that ceiling is.
My role in the challenge. I come up with it.